Hello, so let's talk about Lightforge. Lightforge is the professional lighting console that we use here at Christian Life Center. It is developed by a company out of Billings called Visual Sorcery, and this lighting console, while maybe overwhelming to look at first, is really quite simple. It gives professional features without the hassle of a professional lighting console. And if you've ever used a professional lighting console before, you'll know that sometimes there's a lot of command line stuff, there's lots of numbers, there's lots of labels to try to control your lights properly. And Lightforge doesn't do any of that. In fact, it's very visual, and I think that you guys will like it too once you get deeper into it. So first, let's just talk about kind of the overlay here, the overview rather of it. So if you look right in this area, you'll see this is the groups panel, and I've loaded last week's lighting scenes. So the groups are what was last week, which was the 13th of July. This is what all of our lights that we used last week. And so you can see here I have a bunch of different lights patched. I have drum LEDs here, I have B-band LEDs here, I have the LEDs that we have on the ceiling, they're kind of auxiliary LEDs here, and A-band downlight LEDs here. We have house lights with the LED strips in the back hallway, conventional lighting for the band, the blinders that are currently on the stage, beams, blinders that are up in the air, and then we have our intelligent lights or movers, and then we have our hazers. So the lighting console controls haze too. You'll see here that each light is represented by a dot. So say I'm going to click on here, this one, movers 2, and it is an intelligent light, but if I take its intensity, so you can see, you click on the light, you click on any group here that you want to select, and then down here you'll notice in these this panel here, these two panels here, and this panel up here that has tabs across the top, these are all the attributes that you use to set your lights. You don't use any of this other stuff to actually set the position, the shape, the color, the intensity of your lights. So if I want to turn on this moving light, I can just click on the intensity and just move it up to 100%. That'll turn on the light to 100%, or I can take it to 0 to turn it off. If I wanted to change the position, I can use my pan or tilt. So this is tilt right here, and this one's pan right here. So I can set the position of the light, and then I can change the color of the light. You can see that the light color changes right in there when I change the color of the light. And I mean, you'll notice that pan tilt, that changes too when I change positions. Now, Lightforge has the ability to do anything any light wants. So some lights have different features than other lights, and that's just the way intelligent lights are built. And in the back end later, and I don't know if I will even cover it, but in patching you can change it, but then you can make any attribute you want. So you can see here we have prism, we have prism rotate. So these are the settings that I've just built into these lights, and once again we'll talk about that later, but essentially you can change all of your intelligent features with the lights right here, and they will go into the cues. So if you want to change your gobo, you can scroll through your gobos like this. If you want to change the gobo rotate speed, you can change that through here. If you want to focus the light, it has 2 gobo wheels, so you can change a secondary gobo wheel, set the strobe, change the secondary color wheel. This light only has 1 color wheel, but I've set this up to be the colors that are half and half. So this light supports half and half colors, so you can have half of the light blue and half of the white light amber, and you can set that with a secondary color wheel. Just for you guys to note, the way I've programmed this is that when the secondary color wheel is at 0, then this takes effect down here. But if you move the secondary color wheel up, you can do whatever you want down here, and you can see right here it's changing, but just know that if we were in the sanctuary and you saw this light nothing would be changing as I'm changing the color down here because color wheel secondary is not at 0. That's how I handle those colors. Here we have prism. That basically just splits the beam into 3. Prism rotate, how fast those 3 beams are rotating around each other. System controls here. Since we have LED fixtures, we don't have to worry about it. But if you had lamp control or anything else like that, you could set that in here. So that's kind of an overview of the groups panel. That's what this is called, the groups panel, and how to set an attribute for a light. I set it for this one mover, but once again, you could set it for this mover. The attributes change all down through here. You can set it for a group. So if I want to set this entire group to pink, you can tell that this light right here turned to pink and this light right here turned to pink. So this is really nice because it's all hierarchical. So if I want to set the entire everything to pink, I can just select everything and go to pink, and you can tell everything changes. Or if I just want this light to change, I can just click on the light. So that's an overview of the groups panel.